Welcome back to CBS This Morning. There were peaceful protests overnight in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after no criminal charges were filed against the police officer who shot Jacob Blake. Officer Rustin Shesky is his name. He shot Blake during a domestic dispute call back in August. The 29-year-old man was left paralyzed from the waist down. The latest protests follow a wave of demonstrations after the shooting, when some of them turned violent. Mola Lenghi is in Kenosha right now. And Mola, the question now is, how is Blake's family reacting to this decision?
Well, good morning, Gail. Folks here in Kenosha braced for more potential unrest in the prosecutor's decision not to charge those officers. As you can see, business owners boarding up their shops, protecting their shops. So far, things have remained relatively quiet here in Kenosha, though Blake's family, as you asked, they say they're going to continue to fight until they get justice for Jacob. Now, we should warn you, some of the images you're about to see could be graphic.
They allow a police officer to rain down terror on our communities. It's unjust.
Jacob Blake's uncle spoke moments after DA Michael Gravely said he would not criminally charge Officer Rustin Shesky for shooting Blake 7 times.
As Americans and the citizens of Kenosha and the world as a whole must get this right, not just for little Jake, but for all the little Jakes this will impact.
Gravely said none of the officers at the scene would be charged, as he could not disprove Officer Shesky's claim of self-defense when he and the other officers responded to a domestic dispute last August. The DA said the officers knew of a warrant for Blake for previous violence and described the struggle during his attempted arrest, which included tasing Blake multiple times with no effect.
Multiple officers try to grab his arms and secure him so he can be cuffed. He admits at one point, officers were trying to handcuff me, but I was able to get up.
Prosecutors say Blake tried to enter a vehicle holding a knife. Cell phone video captured Shesky shooting Blake in the back. Blake's 3 young children were in the back seat.
It is absolutely incontrovertible that Jacob Blake was armed with a knife during this encounter. Jacob Blake, in all of the times he spoke to DCI, admits he possessed a knife.
We spoke with Blake's father about his son having a weapon.
He was moving away from the officer. He wasn't a threat to that officer.
As illustrated by his back being pointed towards the officer, is that what you're saying?
As illustrated by where the bullets entered.
Investigators say they found a knife on the floor of the car.
How is Jacob doing?
He's dealing with his situation appropriately. He's where he should be after being shot 7 times.
Then 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse is charged with shooting 3 people during the early days of the Blake protests with an assault-type rifle, killing 2. On Tuesday, the now 18-year-old Rittenhouse entered a not guilty plea to all charges in a virtual court hearing, claiming self-defense. He remains free on a $2 million bond.
Issues of bail remain in full force and effect. Do you understand that, Mr. Rittenhouse?
Yes, sir.
Well, the governor has called in the National Guard to help manage any potential unrest. The Department of Justice says their civil rights investigation into Jacob Blake's shooting is ongoing. Meanwhile, the officers involved in Blake's shooting remain on administrative leave. Gail.
All right, Mola, thank you very much. That's another bitter pill for the Blake family to swallow. Yeah. Listen, I know whenever police are called to a domestic disturbance, it's always a very thought to be volatile, dicey situation. Yes. We all understand that. But it's hard to understand how somebody can be shot in the back that many times. Yeah. Family says the knife was in the car on the floor. The police officers say another story, but still he had a knife and they had guns and he shot in the back.
The shooting in the back part is the very difficult part.